Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be doing a guide for Venice for EU4 1.34 Lions of the North. So Venice is a nation that starts off with possessions in Italy and in the Balkans, and it is one of the most powerful nations at the start of the game in 1444, possessing one of the largest and most powerful navies. And with the position over here in the center of the Mediterranean, as Venice, you will be able to dominate European and even further trade, and by the end of the game, you will be able to consolidate both the Genoa and Venice trade nodes and make insane amounts of money. Paired with our amazing national ideas that are focused on trade, such as Yellow Republican tradition, plus 33% trade steering, and naval ideas such as plus 25% galley combat ability, naval force limit, ship durability, diplomats, trade efficiency, plus 20%, foreign spy detection and corruption discounts, sailors, national unrest, and dev discount. And with this amazing mission tree right here, you will go on to dominate the entirety of Europe pretty much in the first 5 years of the game. And before we begin, if you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like. It really helps out a lot. And if you like the content and want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. Let's take a look at what we need to do as Venice. Alright, here we are as Venice, and as many of you know, we do start off with a unique government form, the Venetian government, which gives us +1 merchant and -0.1 yearly corruption, along with average monarch lifespan +25% and less absolutism. And by being a merchant republic, we can also create trade leagues, trade posts, and trading cities and stuff like that, which we won't really be using. But since Lions of the North, Venice does also have estates along with the factions that we start off with: the aristocrats, which give us some army and navy stuff, the traders, which gives us some trade power and navy discounts, and the guilds, which help us make lots of money. And right here at the start, we are going to want to keep the aristocrats in power because we will need those naval bonuses. But before you do any of this, you will want to check and see if Austria is friendly with you, and if they're not, just restart, because we will want to get friendly with Austria. I did this first try, it didn't take me any restarts. But after you've seen that Austria is friendly with you, you can go ahead and do your estates. And first, we're going to summon the Diet. You can pick whichever agenda is best for you. Then we're going to give the clergy religious state and clerical advisory council, along with religious diplomats. We're going to give the nobility primacy of the nobility, increased levies, and aristocratic councilors. And we're going to give the burghers land of commerce, patronage of the arts, commercial advisory board, and indebted to the burghers. Then we're going to seize land. Because we are making quite a bit of money at the start, and we will be making even more, you can go ahead and hire 3 advisors, get whichever level 1 admin advisor you want. We do have this half cost level 2 admin advisor, but he isn't really necessary in my opinion. Get a diplo rep or improve relations level 1 diplo advisor. I don't have any of those, so I'm just going to get this trade efficiency guy. And get a discipline, morale, or manpower level 1 mil advisor. I do have this manpower guy. Next, we do have 3 free diplomats, and we do need to put them to work. So with your free diplomat, go ahead and ally Austria since you have started friendly with them. With your second diplomat, you're going to go ahead and start spying on Byzantium. And with your third diplomat, you're going to start improving relations with a potential Polish rival, like one of these guys right here. And in my case, I can actually already ally Poland, but if you can't ally Poland or something like that, go ahead and improve with them. Potential allies that we want to get here are Austria, someone else that could help us fight the Ottomans like Poland, and maybe someone like Castile, Aragon, or France. It doesn't matter as long as you've got Austria. Make sure to not ally an Austrian rival though. So I'm going to go ahead and ally Aragon and Poland right here. But Austria is the most important. If you can straight up ally any of these guys right off the bat, start improving relations with the Pope. Next, it's time for some rivals. Go ahead and rival Byzantium, the Ottomans, and then whoever else you want. I'm just going to rival Burgundy right here. Next, we're going to take these light ships right here, these 7 light ships, and tell them to protect trade in Venice and go home during war. And we're also going to start constructing some galleys in the provinces that we can. And there we go. I've started building 10 galleys in all of these provinces right here. That's about enough, even though we will go over force limit. Next, you can go ahead and take both of these armies right here over to this province down here. And at this point, we're just waiting to get a spy network on Byzantium and claim one of their provinces. We can't do any of our missions right at the start. These will mostly come naturally, so no need to focus on these yet. I'll bring them up later. And of course, at this point, you will be able to select a naval doctrine. We do have a unique naval doctrine as Venice, the Venetian Arsenal, for -15% ship cost and -10% sailor maintenance. But this isn't really that useful for now. We'll mostly be using free oarsmen for galley combat ability and merchant navy for ship trade power. But right at the start, we do need free oarsmen. At this point, I have also sorted out my alliances, and I've allied Austria, the Pope, Aragon, and Poland. Out of these, only Austria is necessary. If you can ally the Pope, do it just for papal points generation. If they've rivaled you, don't worry about it. And like I said, aside from Austria, try to ally Ottoman rivals like Aragon right here, that's why I've allied them, and Poland, which isn't their rival, but they could help us out versus the Ottomans. We're basically amassing an alliance to help us defeat the Ottomans. Once you've sorted your alliances, you can also revoke your guarantee on the knights. And once your army is down here, you can go ahead and rearrange it by deleting 1 cavalry regiment, just like that, building up 3 more infantry regiments, and also hiring the Free Company. Once you've gotten your alliances in order, just like this, and you're still spying on Byzantium with one of the other free diplomats, you can build a spy network on the Ottomans, and with the third one, you can improve relations with allies. At this point, if you improve relations enough with Austria, you will be able to join the HRE. But only do that if Austria has allied someone else in Italy, because that nation will also stay in the HRE after the Italian guys leave. So I'm just gonna check right here in my game, and they haven't allied anyone else in Italy, which means I don't need to join the HRE. But if Austria allied someone like Genoa, Lucca, Florence, Milan, you get the point, then you should join, so you can fight them because they will stay in the HRE, and you don't want to have to fight Austria. And once all your galleys have been built up and you've put them in the Aegean Sea right here, there's 15 galleys right there, you've also probably gotten a spy network on Byzantium, in which case it is time for us to start our first war. So recall the diplomat that's spying on Byzantium, and go ahead and hire an admiral for your navy, just like that, and go ahead and get a general for your army, just like that as well. This guy's pretty bad, he's only got maneuver. But after this, you can simply go ahead and declare on Byzantium for the conquest of whatever you claim down here, and go ahead and fight them. They will probably have 1 to 2 allies, someone like these guys up here, but it's not a problem, just go ahead and white peace them. And that's your first war started. We do want to go ahead and try and siege down everything right here before the Ottomans declare on Byzantium. And after you beat up Byzantium in this quick and easy war, and like I said, white peace their allies because we do want to fight them soon, what you are going to do is simply go ahead and full annex Byzantium just like that. If we straight up vassalize them, yes, we do keep their ships, which might help us, but we did rival them, so that's why we want to full annex them and release them, and they'll have no negative opinion of us. So just full annex them and Athens, take as much money as you can, and that's it. That's your first war done. Now we're gonna go ahead and release Byzantium just like that. And there we go, Byzantium has popped out, and we can reconquer these cores of theirs from the Ottomans. That's your first war done. Now it's time to curry favors with our allies that might help us defeat the Ottomans, and wait for the Ottomans to declare on someone located in Anatolia, like Chandar, Trebizond, Karaman, Ramazan. They've already fought Dulkadir in my game, so that's what we're waiting for. In the meantime, you can build up your navy even more. At this point, since you have 2 subjects, you can go ahead and give the nobility strong duchies and the nobility integration policy. And there we go, this is precisely what we're waiting for, the Ottomans to declare on someone in Anatolia. And in my case, they've declared on Karaman, just Karaman, so it's gonna be a very quick and very easy war for them, but in either way, their entire navy will be located over here. Now, when this happens, you will want to have your main army in Constantinople, and you will immediately want to put your fleet over in the Sea of Marmara. And hopefully by this point, you've curried favors with all of your allies. Unfortunately, in my game, I haven't, but I should be pretty close with Austria and with Aragon. And by this point, you should also be able to take the mission Expand the Arsenal, where you gain some Marines Force Limit, Navy Tradition, and a new Admiral. So you can go ahead and put that super powerful Admiral in charge of your navy if the one you already hired is bad. And now that I've seen the Ottoman armies cross into Anatolia, and you should do the same, you can go ahead and declare on the Ottomans and call in all your allies. We're going to be doing a reconquest for Gallipoli here, which is Byzantium's core, and you can go ahead and call in whoever you can. In my case, I still can't call in Austria, but as soon as I get 10 favors with them right here, which should be really quick, I'll drag them in as well. So Austria is your primary ally in this war. You'll probably be able to get Poland and someone else too. But just you and one other ally is enough to defeat the Ottomans. So immediately declare on them for the conquest of Gallipoli. Boom, just like that. And put this army right here. Take them to Gallipoli. This other army can siege down here. And once you defeat their small navy stack that'll be located in the Sea of Marmara, and once your army has arrived in Gallipoli, you should naval bombard it. And you can even assault it if you want to get it done even quicker. Once you get Gallipoli, the Ottomans won't be able to cross. For your tier 2 government reform as Venice, you have some very interesting choices. You can go for republicanism for even more yearly republican tradition, which is always nice, but you can also take the money-making option, which is meritocratic rule for goods produced plus 5% and burghers' loyalty, and the may recruit female generals and female advisor chance is pretty good too. Or you could go for the army route, virtues of this that I'm not going to try and pronounce, for manpower and nobles loyalty. So choose whichever one of these 3 you want. They're all pretty good. In this guide, since we're going for the money-making maximizing scenario, I would recommend meritocratic meritocratic rule. But once again, all three of these are great, and you won't make a mistake with either one of them. I'm gonna go for meritocratic rule. And there we go, the Ottomans were preparing to cross right here, and I assaulted Gallipoli. That did cost me 4k manpower, but at least now they can't get through, and they would have defeated my army, so that was definitely a necessity. At this point, I'm also gonna call in Austria. We're already powerful enough, but why not make it even easier, and maybe push into Anatolia. And you shouldn't worry about the Ottomans as allies in this war. It's okay if they ally Tunis, Crimea, Aquilum, whoever, you'll still be able to defeat whoever they ally. While you're in this war with the Ottomans, you can go ahead and start spying on some of these guys that are located right here. Serbia, which I already have claims on from an agenda, Herzegovina, Bosnia, Albania, Ragusa, whichever one of these 5 guys right here you want. Since I have claims on Serbia, I am going to start spying on Herzegovina right here. And once you completely crush the Ottomans and get an easy 100% war score versus them, here's what you're going to take from them in your first war. So the first thing you're going to take is this province right here for yourself, and then you're simply going to give the entirety of Byzantium scores back to them, except for this province right here, and including this province right here, which isn't one of their cores. Then you can also take the province of Avalonia for yourself, and you can take one of these 2 provinces right here also for yourself. Make sure to not give it to Byzantium. I'm going to take Kucheli simply because it's a fort, and then you can go ahead and take war reps from them and as much money as you can. So these provinces right here back to Byzantium, these 2 for yourself, and this one for yourself as well, along with war reps and money. And that's your first war with the Ottomans done. And just like that, we've crushed them, completely crippled them, and they're not a problem anymore, and Byzantium has received all of its cores back, which means we're ready to go ahead and annex them. But after this war is done, something else that you're gonna do is you're gonna release Bulgaria from this one province that we've taken right there. And now we can reconquer their cores right here as well. We didn't give this to Byzantium even though it's their core because it is Bulgarian culture. So in the next war, we're gonna retake Bulgaria's cores and take additional coastline from the Ottomans in Anatolia. But for now, in the mid 1450s, your war with the Ottomans is done. And now we need to chill a bit, core everything up that we've taken from the Ottomans, and shift our focus to these provinces right here while we're waiting for the Italian guys to leave the HRE so we can fight them as well. At this point, once again, you can check and see if Austria has allied any of them. In my case, they haven't, so it's all good. And that's your second war done. The Ottomans, they're not a problem anymore. Once this war is done, you can also start improving relations with Byzantium to get them up to 190 quick, so you can annex them. Of course, in 1450, when the Renaissance spawns, you could be lucky enough to spawn it yourself. In my case, I didn't. It seems that Perugia right here has spawned it, and I've already got it, and I can embrace it. But either way, at this point, you will want to activate Encourage Dev in your capital Venice and bump it up just slightly up to 30. This way you can also spawn faceting. In my case, I'm going to use some Diplo points because that's what I have the most of. And there we go, it's up to 30, we've ticked off the age objective, and we can spawn faceting. Once your war with the Ottomans is done, you can also revoke your guarantee over Albania. If these guys have low enough liberty desire, while you still haven't annexed them, you can go ahead and tell them to transfer trade power over to you, basically divert trade, just like that. And by this point, 10 years have already passed, and if you have enough relations with Naxos, you can go ahead and annex them. Once you grow your income a bit, you will be able to take the mission More Venture Captains, where you gain mill power and land force limit plus 10% along with a leader without upkeep for 20 years. This mission isn't that good, but it helps us advance down this branch. Once you hit Admin Tech 5, you will be able to take your first idea group as Venice, and for our first idea group, I do recommend quantity ideas. Now listen, manpower and force limit aren't that bad as Venice at the start, and they won't be bad later on either, but quantity has some really good policies with other idea groups that we're gonna take, especially with trade for that plus 20% goods produced. So that's why I do recommend quantity for your first idea group. You could alternatively open up with trade, but we haven't expanded enough to where we can use trade to its maximum potential as a first idea group. So we'll be going trade second. And there we go, at this point I've annexed Naxos. For your tier 3 government reform, you should take consolidation of power, mostly for the re-elections reduce state influence by 10%. Of course, as the Venetian government, elections only happen when the current ruler dies. So you could also disperse power across the cities for more frequent elections, but I'm gonna go with consolidation of power. Once you've cored up the provinces you've taken from the Ottomans, it is time to continue with your wars and fight some of the Balkan guys. Ideally, you'd fight Serbia at this point to take the gold province and Kosovo from them, but in my case, they're guaranteed by the Ottomans, which really isn't a problem, but then they've also allied Hungary, which isn't common at all, which would make this war way more annoying than it needs to be. So I'm just gonna declare on Herzegovina, which don't have any allies. Fight anyone you can here, preferably Serbia first. Once you're close to 1460, you can start spying on some of your Italian neighbors. I already have a claim on Mantua from an event, so I am gonna start spying on Ferrara. Another unusual alliance I want to point out is Tunis being allied to Castile, and Tafilal being also allied to Castile and Portugal. Once you reach 200 development, you will be able to take the mission Grants for Contractors, where you gain some mercenary discounts. Once you defeat whoever you're fighting out of these 5 nations in the Balkans, go ahead and full annex them. And by the time you wrap up your first war in the Balkans, you will be able to start annexing Byzantium, which you should do. And by mid-1461, the event The Shadow Kingdom will have happened, and all the Italian nations that aren't allied to Austria, which is none of them in my game right here, will have left the HRE. And at this point, it's time for us to start our expansion in Italy as well and open up a third front. Basically, our first front right here is fighting the Ottomans and taking them down whenever we can, then taking these guys down in the Balkans while we're chilling, and additionally slowly expanding into Italy. But by later, we'll also start expanding in other areas as well. But for now, once the Italian guys leave the HRE, you can go ahead and fight whichever one of these guys around you is the easiest to fight. Whether it's Mantua, Milan, Ferrara, Bologna, or Florence, the nations that you border initially. Don't fight the Pope just yet, unless they've rivaled you. In my case right here, I am going to declare on Ferrara, since Naples won't help them out, and Milan is their only ally. So that's my next war, and my first war in Italy started. Like I said, fight whoever is the easiest, after you've taken care of a Balkan nation. When you get the event The Growing Power of the Council of 10, you will want to support the 10, mostly for that monthly autonomy chain. Sure, it does give us -1 yearly Republican tradition, but we should be gaining more than that. And once you wrap up your first war with an Italian nation, go ahead and take as much as you can from them, but be careful of aggressive expansion. If you're fighting Mantua or Bologna, of course you're gonna full annex them. If you're fighting Florence, you're probably only gonna take Arezzo from them. If you're fighting Milan, take like 1 or 2 provinces from them. And if you're fighting Ferrara, I think you can comfortably full annex them. White peace everyone else that you're fighting in Italy, don't take any money or war-ups or anything from them. We will want our truce with them to expire so we can fight them as well. But that's your first war in Italy done. Now it's time to once again chill a bit until we core this up and go back to fighting in the Balkans. By this point, you should still have a truce with the Ottomans. Mine is until 1470. While you're at peace, keep spying on everyone you want to fight here and here. Of course, while you're at peace, you can go ahead and take some new burgher loans from the burghers, and it is pretty dangerous that they are at 100 influence right here in my game, but it's no big deal. And you can go ahead and build some buildings like marketplaces, for example. I've already built one in my capital of Venice, so now I'm gonna put ones in every center of trade that I have, such as Verona right here, Ferrara, which I just conquered, Istria right here, Durazzo, and I am gonna build some preemptively for my subjects Byzantium right here, because we are gonna end up owning those provinces ourselves as well. In my game right here, as we can see, Hungary has just declared on Bosnia and annexed them, and they've also integrated their junior partner Serbia, which means they are growing quite large, quite unusually large. In your game, most likely they will be a junior partner under Austria, and most likely you won't have this weird alliance situation. So that's why in my game right here, I am gonna declare on them for the conquest of some provinces that they took from Bosnia. I'm gonna make them end their alliance with Serbia, and I'm doing this because Poland and Austria would help me out. 99% of the time, this is not something that you're gonna have to do, and instead, you'll just be fighting some of these minor guys right here, like I said, preferably Serbia. So let's just pretend I'm doing that instead of fighting Hungary as well. And there we go. In this war, I'm planning to take these provinces right here and make them end their alliance with Serbia. Once you get enough trade power in Ragusa, you will be able to take the mission Monopolize Adriatic Trade, where you get some mercantilism and diplo power. And now that I've defeated Hungary, like I said, I am going to be taking these provinces over here in Bosnia that I did intend to take, and I'm also going to make them end their alliance with Serbia. And additionally, because this isn't that much aggressive expansion, I am going to be taking these 3 provinces right here, which are part of the Croatia area. And I'm also going to get war reps and money. And that's my war with Hungary done. Like I said, most likely, you fought some minor Balkan nation at this point. Now it's once again time to chill, and maybe we're gonna fight the Ottomans next, or if your truce still isn't up, you're gonna go back to Italy. For a first stage ability, you could take Venetian trade for ship trade power plus 50% right here, but it isn't really that necessary, and something that's going to help us out way more is Justified Wars. You can go with whichever one you want. For your tier 4 government reform, and if you're wondering why we're blazing through these so fast, it's because of our monument, the Doge's Palace right here. But if you have good relations with the Pope and you're allied to them and stuff like that, of course, because we are going to be staying Catholic, you should go for lands for the church. However, if you haven't allied the Pope, if you don't have good relations with them, if this isn't climbing as fast as you want it to, then you should go with maintain the balance of power. So, good relations with the Pope, this. Bad relations with the Pope, this. I'm going to go for lands for the church. And once your truce with the Ottomans is up, it's time to go ahead and declare on them once again for the reconquest of Bulgaria's cores. And we're pretty much going to take the entirety of the Balkans from them in this war, even if they have or haven't expanded, and we might take some provinces over in Anatolia as well. Once once again make sure that your fleet is in the Sea of Marmara, and go ahead and declare. In the middle of this war, I have lost Aragon because the Iberian wedding happened, but it's not a problem. Once you've developed your capital province of Venice 10 times, you will be able to take the mission New Pilings, where you get a construction discount and construction time reduction as well. Just in your capital though. And once you've completely crushed the Ottomans in your second war against them, here's what you're gonna take. Obviously, we're gonna give Bulgaria all of their cores back that they have over here, and then take anything else for yourself that the Ottomans might have remaining in the Balkans. I'm gonna take these two provinces which they've conquered from Anatolia, one of which is also our core. And then after that, you can take some provinces over in Anatolia, mostly coastal ones. This is a pretty good one to take, and that's about as much as I can get right here, along with some money. And that's your second war with the Ottomans done. By this point, you have the entirety of the Balkans either for yourself or through your vassals, which of course you're going to annex, and you have a pretty solid foothold in Anatolia as well. Now it's once again time to chill a little bit before shifting our focus back to Italy or the Balkans. Once you hit admin tax 7, you will be able to take your second idea group, and of course, like I said earlier on in the video, for your second idea group, you should take trade ideas. I just helped out Poland in the war versus Moldavia, which was allied to Serbia, and I received these two provinces. Unfortunate, because now I've got a longer truce with Serbia, and I don't have the province I want, but by this point, you've probably annexed all of Serbia, and you pretty much own this entire area right here. I've just been a little bit unlucky. Now, once you take over these islands right here from Genoa and the Knights, you will be able to take the mission Reclaim the Aegean. These have actually gone over to Byzantium because separatists enforced demands. It happened earlier in Rhodes, and I guess it happened right now in the Genoese islands, but once you do, you will gain permaclaims on Constantinople and Cyprus. Once you get the burghers' loyalty up, which shouldn't be difficult at all as Venice, you will be able to take the mission, this one right here, where you gain some admin and diplo points. Now that I've chilled a bit from fighting the Ottomans, and I'm almost finished coring the provinces that Poland gave me, I will be continuing my wars in Italy. You should be doing the same. It's pretty much the Balkans, the Ottomans, Italy, the Balkans, the Ottomans, Italy, and now it's time for me to go back to Italy and fight Florence right here for Urbino, since they're growing pretty big, and they only have one ally, Ragusa. Something else you can give the burghers right here is grant Orthodox autonomy. Now, of course, that will give them more influence, and mine have been over 100 influence for a while. As long as they're over 50 loyalty, you won't have any trouble with them, but this basically makes the Orthodox provinces that we're going to conquer, which there are a lot of in the Balkans that we're going to get from our subjects, not give us any religious unity penalties, but we also can't convert them. If you want to, you can give these guys this. Alternatively, if you're converting the provinces, you can go ahead and give the clergy enforced unity of faith. That's what I'm doing since I am converting provinces. And now that I defeated Florence, I will take these two provinces from them, which were originally owned by the Pope and his subjects, and I'll also take Ragusa right here without co-belligerenting them, because I don't want to have to be bothered to fight the Ottomans. Of course, you can declare on them and also fight the Ottomans and just white peace them to reduce your truce with them. It's totally up to you. I'm going to be taking this though. No money, no war reps. And right now in 1484, I've just annexed Byzantium, and that's around the time you're going to do it as well. After you do so, if you've taken this mission, which you probably actually haven't, you will be able to take this mission right here for galley discount minus 10% and prestige from naval battles plus 100% until the end of the game. A really powerful mission. Make sure to lower autonomy from time to time. Sure, this will make you fight rebels, but it'll also make us way more money and manpower and trade income as well. So don't forget to do this like every 10-15 years as much as you can. Of course, something I did forget to mention is that we will gain a lot of forts, something that I just noticed in my game right here as well, and you can go ahead and delete a bunch of irrelevant forts that aren't really needed in our game right here. Now that I have 200 relations with Bulgaria, I'll also be annexing them. You should do the same. Once you annex your subjects, make sure to build any relevant buildings right there in their provinces that you've taken from them, and also upgrade the centers of trade as well. I just took out new burgher loans. They were about 1,500 ducats, so that's what I'm gonna do right now. For your tier 5 government reform, if you're once again maximizing your money-making opportunities, you should go for Union of States. If not, however, you can definitely go for provincial governments. It is really good as well. I'm gonna go for Union of States. Now that I've chilled a bit from my Italian war, I'll go ahead and continue my wars in the Balkans. I can't fight Serbia because I have a truce with them. Sicily's in the HRE, so I'll once again have to declare on Hungary, and in this war I'll also take a Croatia right here and these two provinces from Hungary. Around this point, you can also start spying on the Mamluks. I already have 2 claims on them because I got 50 spy network from an event, but you should claim like these 3 provinces right here. And there we go. Now that I defeated Hungary, like I said, I'll just take these 2 provinces right here along with this province to simulate the fact that you most likely won't be fighting Hungary and that you most likely won't be focusing on this area right here, which to be honest, we don't even really need to focus on. So just these provinces right here, and then I'm gonna humiliate them as well because I haven't humiliated anyone this campaign. War reps and a little bit of money, and that's it. that's my war with Hungary done. And once your second truce with the Ottomans is up, you can go ahead and declare your third war on them, where we're going to focus on taking as much of the Anatolian coastline as we can. These wars are going to be pretty slow. These are highly dev provinces. We won't be able to take a whole lot, so we are definitely going to have to chop them down to size quite a few times. But I'm just going to declare for this province right here, they've allied Tunis now, and I'll only call on Poland and Lithuania because, well, Austria and the Pope, they don't want to come. And there we go. And once you wrap up your third war with the Ottomans, like I said, you're going to take as much of the coastline as you can. In my case, the Mamluks also declared on them, but that shouldn't really be a problem. So I'm just going to take these provinces right here, and it is going to be quite a lot of A and quite a lot of war score, but they're pretty much the only Muslim nation that we're fighting, so you shouldn't really concern yourself too much with these things. As we can see, there's no real risk of a coalition, so I'm just going to take as much as I can from them in coastline. And I'm also getting at war reps and some money. And that's your third war with the Ottomans done. About 7 or 8 coastal provinces. Now that my truce with Serbia is up, I'll finally be taking the gold mine. You've probably gotten it like 30 or 40 years before me, but better late than never. Once you amass about 1,000 ducats, and that shouldn't be too difficult, I do recommend upgrading the Parthenon at least to tier 1. It does give us cheaper advisors. And of course, once you wrap up quantity and trade, you should immediately take the goods produced policy, which will put our goods produced at least 20%, depending of course on the government reforms and who's in power right here. And now that my war with Serbia is done, I'll be taking these provinces myself, and I will give Moldavia over to Poland because they did help out, and I'm not interested in that. And at this point, I've also annexed Bulgaria. For your tier 6 government reform, you should go for the presidential system. And by around the early 1500s, your game should look a little something like this. Basically, we started off as Venice, fought Byzantium, annexed them and released them, and we used them to reconquer their course from the Ottomans while they were fighting someone over here. After that, it was pretty straightforward. We were shifting our expansion focus from the Ottomans to some nations in the Balkans, to some nations in Italy. This is the region where you will conquer the most slowly, and I was a little bit too slow in my game, of course. You would be a little bit faster, you would have a little more provinces over in Italy. I was a bit too careful over in this region, but by this point you should have all of the Balkans, a pretty sizable foothold in Anatolia, and you should be the dominant nation in Italy as well. Right now it's 1505, and this is what my nation is looking like. Like I said, income is insane as Venice, making 50 ducats a month, insane income from trade, and this was at 80 something percent just a while ago, but those goods produced modifiers that we have from these guys as well, and from that one government reform that we took, and from the policy, puts us at around 40% goods produced. There we go, actually 35 at this point in the game, and that will increase dramatically as the game goes on. This is the main army right here, 2447. It should be 2547 right now. This is the main fleet, a couple of transports, a bunch of galleys, a couple of heavies, and I do have 2 trade fleets protecting trade in Constantinople and in Venice. And of course, during all of this time, you should have building up your nation while fighting the Ottomans, giving Byzantium and Bulgaria scores back, and then annexing them and pushing into Italy, but we were also building buildings. All of the centers of trade that are in states have been upgraded to level 2. As we all know, we start off with our capital at tier 3. The amount of merchants you have is the amount of trade centers you can upgrade to level 3. And there we go, if we bump Constantinople 3 more times, we can upgrade that to a level 3 center of trade as well. And of course, during all of this time, you should have been building marketplaces in all of the center of trade provinces, a bunch of production buildings in the high value trade good provinces. I've also built some barracks here and there, a couple of churches here and there, and a bunch of courthouses everywhere, because you will struggle with gov cap around this point in the game. I have also given the nobility land rights for even more gov cap. And by around the early 1500s, you should be one of the most powerful nations in the world. In my game right here, I am the second greatest power in the world after Ming. Muscovy and France are close behind, but honestly, that's not going to be a problem, because once we take care of Italy, once we take care of Anatolia, you are going to continue to push over here, and then into the Balkans, and then into the Mamluks, and all of these Maghrebi guys, pushing into Iberia as well, pushing into France through Italy, and maybe your goal is going to be to form the Roman Empire. Now, if you're planning on doing a big money-making game or something like that, you could also not form Italy. Alternatively, you could also form Italy, but make sure to do that after you complete the Venetian mission tree, because it is really nice. And if you really want to make a lot of money, stay with Venetian ideas when you form Italy. However, if you want to blob out even more and don't care that much about the money, then you can take Italian ideas, because they are better for conquest, whereas Venice's ideas are better for making money. And of course, you will have a massive naval force limit, massive navies all around. No one will be able to stop you with all the modifiers from your ideas and the idea groups that you're going to take. And army force limit isn't going to be a problem either, along with manpower, because we did open up with quantity ideas. And after this, pretty much no one can stop you except for yourself by getting coalitioned or something like that, but even that's not not going to be a problem as long as you have good relations with the Pope. I have this merchant right here establishing communities in Genoa. All of these merchants right here in Ragusa, Constantinople, Aleppo, Alexandria, Vienna, all of them are transferring to Venice, which is enabling us to make insane income, especially from trade, along with a gold mine over here that's been devved up to 10. If you do plan on going for a Roman Empire campaign, I do recommend a trade companying everything that's in Aleppo, Tunis, and Safi, and then you can state everything else, but I do recommend making these 3 trade nodes trade companies because I do think it's the most beneficial. I am already converting provinces over here. Like I said, you can give the burghers grant Orthodox autonomy if you don't want to convert the Orthodox provinces, but I do recommend converting them. It's not that annoying. It will be more annoying to convert the Sunni provinces and stuff like that. And after this point, you'll continue to expand in the same directions we've already been expanding in. You'll finish off the Ottomans and the other guys over in Anatolia. The Mamluks should be in there by now. And by this point, you should be shifting focus from Italy to the Ottomans, basically these regions right here. Like I said, at any point when you're ready, you could go ahead and hit the Mamluks because you do border their provinces right here, and you may even border them in Anatolia as well, so you can start chopping them down to size. Once you get to this Italian side, you can start pushing into France, maybe try and ally someone like Castile to help you out with them, or ally France to help you out with Castile. The choice is yours, and basically, you are going to want to go for this region right here and dominate the entire Mediterranean, push everything from this side over to Venice, push everything from this side over to Genoa. Alternatively, later, you could push all of this over to Genoa because Ragusa does also go to Genoa as well. This is what we took for our first 2 idea groups, quantity and trade. For your 3rd idea group, I recommend taking quality or plutocratic ideas, and then for your 4th idea group, I recommend taking economic. The rest of that is up to you depending on what your goals for the campaign are. For tier 7, you can take either one of these. They're all great for making money. You can take Empower the Burghers, just be careful of their influence. If it's too high, you can take this one to lower their influence. The mercantilistic approach is also great, but if you have taken economic ideas, you can go for this as well for even more goods produced. For tier 8, I recommend Devolution of Powers. For tier 9, Military Principle is a great unique one. You can read what it gives you right here, but it's a really strong one. Or you could take one of these, which gives you +1 admin, diplo, or mill-free policies. For tier 10, you should take Citizenry. For tier 11, you should go with Appointment by Committee. And for tier 12, you should strengthen executive powers if you already haven't flipped to a monarchy by this point, because it is better to be a monarchy in the age of absolutism. And like I said, around the 1500s, your game should look a little something like this. Let me know in the comments below what's the next nation that I should do a guide on. If you want to watch me do stuff like this live, you can follow me on twitch.tv/RedHawkLive. And if you want to catch up on stuff from over there, you can subscribe to the 2nd channel, link is in the description. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like, it really helps out a lot. And if you like the content and want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of them. And you can become a member today and join the Discord, the link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another EU4 video.